Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 336. We have a wonderful guest for you today. So make sure you click to subscribe right now and you'll never miss a journey. I post 1 to 2 episodes each week and each guest has a fascinating story to tell. Today we have Jessica Blasingame, a CPA and a creative entrepreneur who now specializes in financial services for creative entrepreneurs. Hello, Jessica.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. My audience are excited to hear your story, but just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
Sure. I think one thing that I want to share is that it's important to really visualize and plan out what your successful business will look like. I think having some sort of framework, whether that's through financial planning, through goal setting, even through quiet reflection, I think it's important just to start visualizing what that successful business looks like for you. And that I think that really helps you to stay on track and keep motivated.
So I can't wait to hear more about that. But let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own business?
Sure. So I would say at the beginning of my career journey, I worked in corporate accounting. So I worked for a large Big Four accounting firm. I did audit there. And then I went on to work at a large utility company out here doing accounting research and financial planning and things like that. And I was pretty unhappy in the corporate environment. I felt very stifled. I didn't feel like I could affect much change. It didn't feel like an environment where there was a lot of opportunity for innovation. So I was pretty miserable there. I didn't like the work either. I felt like I didn't really get to know the business as a whole. I was working on, one small specific thing every day. So I was unhappy with the career, and I also started to have some health issues at the time, just coming out of stress and not taking proper care of myself. So I started looking for something else. I was looking for something to heal my health issues, and also I was looking for a different career path. So I found this nutrition training program, which was remote. So I could do a distance learning training while also doing my full-time job. So I started studying about integrative nutrition, and I was just loving it. It was resonating with me. It was helping me to heal. And it also looked like it could become a career path for me. So I started, researching and talking with other people that were doing this kind of work, and it started to become a reality for me. So I started taking clients when I got home from work, and the health coaching clients. And I was just loving that work. I would get home from my full-time job and just be really inspired to do this other work. So I started to put the pieces in place to do that full time. I started doing some planning and, made sure I have the proper savings to start a business and, had some support from my parents and things like that. And then eventually I made the leap. So I started doing health coaching full time, started a health business. And through that, I grew into corporate wellness programs, and I got my yoga teacher training certification and started teaching yoga at some of the tech companies in San Francisco. And I was really loving that work. It was definitely very energizing. And, but I started to meet other business owners through that work that were in the health field, and they would hear about my background and they would just start asking me a bunch of questions. How do I file my taxes, and how do I get organized financially? And so I kind of, had a light bulb go off and realized I could be helping these business owners using my background, but that it would be much more engaging work for me because it was working with small business owners and really like understanding the way their businesses worked and just really getting to help them run their businesses better. So I started beefing up my knowledge of small business accounting. I went and learned QuickBooks, and I started working for some clients where I was getting training from them to understand small business accounting, which is different than corporate accounting. So I, spent a lot of time on that, and then started taking clients. And once I sort of switched over to that path, it became easy for me. And I don't want to, I did put a lot of groundwork in place, but it just felt like it was flowing better. Like clients were flowing to me. I was able to grow the business a lot easier than I was the health business. So it just kind of felt like I was in the right place doing what I was supposed to be doing. And now I'm still doing that. And I've been doing it for 7 years, and I keep growing the business, and I love the work. So that's my journey so far.
Wow, thanks for sharing. But why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? For a lot of reasons. I'd say the first reason is to support business owners. I think it's so cool that there are all these people out there that have a passion, that really want to, affect change in their community. And I get to work directly with them and help them, support them to do what they love doing. So that's one reason I do it. Also, for a lot of, maybe selfish reasons, I like the flexibility. I have a young daughter, and I get to spend a lot of time with her because I work remotely. Also, I just really love having control over all the decisions. I get to decide how to do my marketing and, how to do my sales pitches, and I get to decide what client base I want to serve. And I just love having control over all that. Maybe I'm a control freak, but, but I love it. And I like being able to impact change. I feel like I can do more in the business that I'm in versus in the corporate environment. So, yeah.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
Been a lot easier for me to attract clients. So that's one way that I'm, measuring success is just, I have a lot more clients in this business than I did in the health business. I also just feel like I don't have to market quite, or at least in the beginning. I wasn't doing as much marketing as I was in the health business. In the health business, I just felt like I was killing myself trying to get my message out, trying to, talk to people and get them to come work with me. With the business I'm in now, I am doing a lot of marketing now, but in the beginning, I wasn't having to do as much to get clients over to work with me. So that was another thing that just felt like there was less resistance.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day suddenly all went right for you.
Yeah. So just kind of talking more about the business I'm in now, I think one thing I want to say is when I started to do this business, I had to do a lot of work around who I wanted to work with. So I think when I was first running the business, I was, working with any client that came my way, any industry, any size, basically, because I wanted the work, I wanted to learn. And I started to learn that there were a lot of clients that just weren't a good fit, either because they were too large or they weren't a good fit for the remote. I was working remotely with clients, or maybe the industry wasn't quite a good fit with my business model. So once I kind of just realized that, I started focusing on creative service providers, and creative service providers work really well with our business model. And I really light up getting to serve those clients. So once it kind of switched over to focusing on creative service providers, again, things started to flow better. And it was weird, energetically, a lot of those clients started just coming my way. And also we now cater our marketing, we customize our marketing to speak with creatives. And I think that was just such a great decision, because not only was I more happy, but I think my clients were happier, and, it was really working. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you. Why should entrepreneurs create models and predictions for their businesses?
Yeah, I think that's really important. I'm not sure this is talked about enough. I think it's important to have, even if it's the most basic framework, a financial framework, or you could call it a forecast. I think it really helps entrepreneurs stay focused on what they want to do and kind of visualize it. I was speaking to this before, but if you put some things in place to, well, let me give you an example. So you start going through a forecast, you start thinking through where your income will come from, right? And you probably already know you're going to offer maybe coaching services or sell a product or something like that. But you start putting numbers behind that. So how many clients do I need to have a month at what rate to make the money that I want to make? How do you really know what that success point is unless you're putting some numbers behind it? So you can start to plug in, I'm going to start with 5 clients a month, and that's my goal. And I'm going to charge, $100 an hour. And so you kind of plug that into your framework and see, okay, that gives me this amount of revenue. Now let me plug in all my expenses and really think through what my expenses will be like. And then I can see what my profit is like. So this is important for a lot of reasons, right? Because you can start to see, maybe you're not profitable initially. So if you're not, where's the money going to come from for your personal expenses, right? Like, are you going to get funding? Are you going to get a loan? So it's important to kind of just have these initial conversations with yourself, based on these numbers. And the numbers will change. A forecast is a living document. But I just think it helps business owners to just start to put some details behind what their plans are. And then you can kind of keep it as a framework as you go and be tweaking it. And you can plug in different scenarios. So you could say something like, okay, well, now I want to have a digital course. Let me put some numbers behind that. Let me say I'm going to charge $199 and I'm planning to try to sell 10 courses a month. What does that look like? So then you can see, I could have this great revenue stream. Let me really put my energy behind marketing that. So I kind of think it helps even as a tool to keep business owners motivated. Like they see what they could have and they're really like energized by it. So that's one reason I think forecasts are very important.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
A lot of things. So much. I feel like having a business it's a lot of self-growth. There's a lot of assessment of yourself and how you do things and how you communicate with people. But one thing I've learned a lot is about boundaries. When I first started the business, I think my prices were too low. I was doing a lot of extra work just because, and not charging for it because I wanted to either attract clients or keep clients. I don't really think I understood my value. So, and that of course lines up with what you're charging. So I feel like early on I started to get kind of burned out because I was doing all this work and I wasn't fairly compensated for it. And, that takes a toll on your mindset over time. So I've really learned to, to respect my own boundaries and also to set expectations. When you're working with clients, like it always helps to be clear about what you're offering and how you're going to work with them and what's the best way for them to communicate with you. So I think when you kind of get some of these things clear up front, then you don't have these boundary issues later. And then you feel more energized. So, the main thing is if you feel good doing the work and you feel energetic, then you're putting your best self out there and you're serving your clients the best way you can. So I think that was a big learning in the beginning. I've also learned a lot about how to listen to myself more. And I think there's so many indicators. And as humans, we all have experienced this, but you have things like anxiety or unhappiness, or even just like apathy or low energy or hesitance, right? So like these things start coming up. And to me, they're all indicators that something is like maybe out of balance or misaligned. So if I'm feeling anxious, like, why am I feeling anxious? Is it just because like it's a transition and something exciting is happening? Or maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Like I'm not really happy with the work, or I feel overextended or something like that. So I think if you can kind of like give yourself some space and quiet time to analyze some of these things that come up for you, that's really big in your business. Like I notice sometimes if I'm not in the right place, I feel a lot of hesitance. Like I try to procrastinate doing the thing, or, I just sort of feel like low energy about it. And that is sometimes a sign that either I need to tweak it, like maybe I'm not offering the service in the right way, or maybe I need to move away from that service. So, there's a lot of indicators if you just give yourself some quiet time to reflect on it a little bit.
You talked about anxiety. So what would be your 3 top tips?
Anxiety, yeah. I think it's such a good topic. I think one of them is giving yourself boundaries, because I do notice if my work starts creeping into like later hours, or I'm responding to questions or emails on the weekend, I don't have that time to reset and re-energize and just take space from my work. So that always contributes to me feeling more anxious. So I think it's important to have space for yourself to do like whatever you love doing that's not work related. Even if you do love your work, you have to have time for other things. And, time for things like self-care type things, like making healthy food or taking a hot bath or going for a walk or whatever it is for you. I also think, just like I mentioned, giving yourself like noticing when you feel anxiety, because anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's just, you feel it, you're trying something outside your comfort zone, which is great, and you feel a little anxiety. I think for me, I try to see if it's sustained anxiety. So if I have, I get a little anxiety before a podcast, right? Like I'm a little nervous, so that's good anxiety. You're excited, you're, looking forward to doing what it is you're doing. But if I have sustained anxiety, like every day I log on and I'm just feeling like anxious about something, then I try to assess what it is that's causing that anxiety. What is there something in my work? Is there something, like some nagging issue in the back of my head? Like what is going on to cause that anxiety? So if you can at least even identify it, then maybe you can come up with a path to reducing that anxiety. For me also with my business, planning helps me. And this is something I didn't do well in the beginning of my business. I didn't want to plan. I wanted to kind of wing everything because I came from a corporate environment, which was so structured. I went the opposite way, but now I've sort of dialed it back in, and certain amounts of planning are really helpful for me. Like I try to do some goal setting, figure out what things I want to put in place throughout the year. I will schedule my tasks throughout the week. And that helps me to not get overwhelmed, especially when I have a lot of work on my plate. And it changes, things pop up and it moves around, but at least I have some sort of structure for saying, I'm going to work on these 3 client projects on this day, and I'm going to do my social media marketing on this day. And, so I kind of just at least have a structure, so then I don't feel like, how am I going to get to this list? How am I going to get this all done? So that's another thing that really helps me with anxiety, is just doing a little bit of upfront planning.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely not do?
What would I not do? A lot of things. Like I said, when I first started, I was winging a lot of things. One of those things was, this may be surprising because I was coming from an accounting background, but I did not have any sort of accounting system whatsoever. I mingled all my personal and business expenses. I didn't have a good idea what my income or profit was like. And at tax time, it was an absolute nightmare because I had to pull my business expenses out from my personal credit cards and, record those for tax purposes. So, I always advise people now, get in an accounting system, even a very simple one, as soon as you can. They're pretty cheap now. You can do like the subscription-based ones like QuickBooks. And, just start getting yourself organized. That's the best time to get organized, is when you don't have very many transactions. You're a small business and you can get your system set up, and then, going forward, you're ready. So I think in my first year of business, I would have done a lot more of just putting processes in place, financial marketing as well. I would have liked to have had a better strategic marketing plan that I could sort of follow. I sometimes felt like I was just doing piecemeal things here and there, and I wasn't very focused. So that would be my advice to my past self.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
I would say my expertise. I think anyone that's giving their expertise it's extremely valuable, because it's usually based on their background and also like what they've learned, what they've studied. So I try to, I've worked with several people that were just starting their small businesses, and, sometimes they don't want to hire anyone yet. And I've done some coaching with them just to get them off the ground. So I think, sharing your expertise is a very valuable thing.
What grounds you?
A lot of things. Must have time outside every day. Otherwise I start to feel, especially with the pandemic, I start to feel stir crazy and, like I can't think as clearly. So I do daily walks for an hour in our neighborhood with my daughter and husband. So that's definitely very grounding. Any time I spend with my daughter is grounding. When you're around a child, you have to be present, and they're completely present, which I think is always just nice to be around someone that is completely in the present moment. So I love that. Healthy food is important for me to have around. I try to make some on the weekends, so I have it around during the week. I have a therapy cat. No, I'm kind of joking, but really sweet cat. And he's often on my lap, purring while I work. So that's grounding as well.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
One thing that's contributed to my success is my support group. I feel like there have been so many conversations either with friends, my parents, or my husband, where, they kind of talk you off the ledge, right? You're like, what am I even doing? This business is out of control, or whatever it is. You kind of have these freak out moments, right? As an entrepreneur or as a human. And it's important to have those people that are like, no, you're on the right track. You're doing a great job. You're, let's talk through this. Let's find some steps to getting you where you want to go. And so I think that's been such a huge thing for me, especially as a business owner, when it's just you sometimes feel isolated, you feel like you're not sure if you're doing the right thing. So having some sort of support system has been really important, I think, to my success.
Do you have a mentor or a coach in your business?
I have my dad. He is a CPA as well, and he's worked with small businesses his entire career. And he's a very intelligent man, very driven. So I learned a lot from him when I was first starting Beam Financial Group. And he always supports me even now. So I would say he's my mentor.
What is the most valuable thing your mentor or your dad has told you?
The most valuable thing? He's really big on persistence and not giving up when you get discouraged. And I think that sort of has played in a lot with marketing. Sometimes when you're marketing, you are putting things out there and you're maybe not getting anything back. And so he used to always say, you might put yourself out there 100 times. You might, send an email 100 times and maybe you get one back, but there's that one, So he's just really big in, you got to be persistent and consistent and just keep putting yourself out there and having faith. A lot of it is faith. You do have to do the work to back it up. That's very important. You can't just hope. But the faith and hope part is really important too, because you have to believe that it'll work out in the end.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
I would say only a couple people know this about me, but not many. And that's that I wanted to be a dance major when I was studying undergrad, or when I was, going into college. I really wanted to pursue dance. And that was, something I was really passionate about, but I ended up choosing a more practical route, and I dance for fun. So I think that was a good decision. But at the time, that's what I wanted to do.
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it and who can join it.
Yeah, so we support creative service providers to feel more connected to their finances, and we do that through various avenues. We offer digital courses, so if business owners kind of want to DIY their finances, do it themselves, we have courses to support them, and I'm launching a whole new suite of QuickBooks courses right now. There's one out that just came out. There will be more to follow. We also work with clients through ongoing bookkeeping services. So, if clients don't want to handle their finances themselves, then they come to us and we take care of it. And then we also do a lot of one-on-one coaching. So working with our clients either to learn QuickBooks and set up their accounting systems, or if they have tax questions or, administrative setup questions with their business, we talk them through all of that. So those are the different ways we support our clients.
And where can we find you?
The website, just beamfinancialgroup.com. If anyone's interested in a course, there's a discount for listening, and that's courses 15. And then also I'm on Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and Facebook as Beam Financial Group.
Thank you. There will be more from Jessica in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you're encouraged by Jessica's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life, when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has tons of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneurs' guests' journeys, all there to help you find a path to your own online success journey. The site offers exclusive members-only content, and you can join absolutely free and be part of this amazing online success community today. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Jessica, I would love for you to share more information with my audience if you're up for it.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
Both. I do both. Right now, I would say I'm not reading as much as I would like with a toddler around, a 2-year-old. But I do watch movies from time to time right now. And I love anything that's an escape. I love like travel movies, romance, I like, an escape from reality, especially during the pandemic. So that's what I've been watching.
Tell us, what is your favorite movie that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I love some of the 80s movies that I grew up with that are about women entrepreneurs. I can think of 2, Working Girl with Melanie Griffith and Baby Boom with Diane Keaton. They're both about women who kind of broke out of the mold. There was a traditional path in front of them that wasn't serving them. And so they sort of went around it and created their own reality. So I just love that, the energy behind those movies.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
I would probably put it in the stock market. Right now I'm learning all about investing in the stock market. And I've been working with my dad on that. So I think that would be a good way to take that $100 and possibly grow it if you put it in the right stocks. So that's what I would do.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your handbag every day, what would be written on it?
This is a good question. I think I would just have a note that said, everything will be okay. This is sort of a mantra I have if I'm feeling worried about something. And it's really simple. It's a very simple sentence, but sometimes you just need to hear that everything will be okay. It's going to work out. It may feel stressful at the time, but it will work out.
What is your next chapter?
My next chapter, I'm focusing a lot more on education right now. I've been thinking a lot about how to better get information to business owners about how to be more connected to their finances. So, I mentioned that I'm working on a suite of courses, and I'm hoping to do a lot more of the coursework and also consulting, and maybe having some group courses coming up. Just helping get the word out, helping business owners with their finances, basically more.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're only on the way?
I feel both. I feel like I've had a lot of successes, but I feel like there's a lot more to do. I'm definitely at a point where I feel like I'm on the right path and I have the direction I want to be, which took me a long time to figure out. But there's a lot that I want to do coming up. So I think it's a good place to be. I feel like I just have to keep charging forward and keep putting it out there.
Will you ever stop?
I don't think so. I guess as with my parents as models, they both say they're retired, but they both still work. And I think I will always do some form of work, whether it's, teaching or just supporting business owners in some way, or, whatever it looks like. I think I'll always do some form of work just to keep my mind fresh.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
Yeah, beamfinancialgroup.com is my website. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook, all as Beam Financial Group.
Jessica, it's been great to have you to share your online success journey with us.
Thank you. It's been so nice being here. I really appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Jessica.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest and want you to know there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast, and they're only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path, so make sure you're subscribed on your favorite platform to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at iTunes and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share your journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out her course on clarity while you're at the website. Finding clarity is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.